Welcome back to the show, everybody. SANDCAST, we're back at it, people. December edition. It is almost Christmas, even though we're recording about a week or two before you're hearing this.
True. So let's see. This will come out. Then,
This will be everybody's Christmas present.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Merry Christmas. We got Mark Burik here as your Christmas present.
Mark Burik in the house, people. This one's brought to you by Wilson, as always. Our favorite ball. We actually have these new mini balls in the studio today, and they're pretty cool. We got a pink one. Both have the new spin technology. So, first pink one on the market right here.
Love that detection.
We got it. Sitting
Love the detection.
With Mark Burik. Yeah.
I loved how that was like anytime that we had like a bad pass or a bad play in white. Spin detection technology. No, I didn't get it.
I couldn't understand which way it was spinning. How am I going to pass that?
Here's your excuse.
Imagine the old school, just the white Wilsons. No, Spaldings, the white Spaldings.
Yeah, back in the
They're
day.
done now, right? Spalding's done.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they? Just the whole company's gone?
I don't know if I heard the rumor right.
Well, no,
if Wilson
they're out of
bought
volleyball.
them out of their rights in the U.S., or if they negotiated a deal where no, we're going to be the only volleyball producers.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, they got the NBA, so I think they're doing all right.
Smart.
I also don't see any reason why anybody would play with a Spalding. Like, no one uses anything but Wilsons now, from as far as I know.
Yeah.
I mean, CVA is Wilson, AVP is Wilson.
There's no
FIVB is
upward
Mikasa.
mobility.
Yeah, it's not. It's like
If
can't
you get
scale
used to
with the Mikasa.
You can't, you can't scale it up. Yeah, because you can get used to hacking jump serves.
Yeah. Hit as hard as you want. It's coming down.
Yeah. And then you try that with a real ball, and it's it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what a Spalding was like to play with.
Kind of like cubish.
Oh, was it the black and white one?
Yeah.
The Cuervo ball.
Yes.
Family.
Those were kind of fun, though.
They're kind of fun when they're brand new, but as soon as they're 2 weeks old, the ridges are hard,
And they're popping.
hard lines.
When it gets wet and the rain gets on it, then it sinks in and the ridges are just huge. On it.
Yes.
I remember that. Well, the old
Good
Wilsons
balls.
used to be like that too, though. They used to have those big ridges, the old white ones. You remember? The ones the old school guys used to play with.
Before my time.
Dodd and them.
I don't
When
remember
I
those.
first started
I remember the white and yellow with no borders. You talking about that one?
Before the
the all white.
No.
White and yellow, it was all white Wilsons. Yeah, and they were kind of like that Spalding.
The Castaway volleyball.
Yeah, the Castaway ones, exactly.
If you have a collection of volleyballs out there and you'd like us, if you'd like to send to SANDCAST
Yeah.
a timeline of volleyballs, how dope
really
would
fun,
that be?
actually.
You
You could put that right up there.
Of the old, every decade.
You go to Holyoke, Massachusetts, and you get the 8-pound leather volleyball that they.
We got the Wilson Volleyball Museum in the studio.
They probably have that at Holyoke, the evolution of volleyballs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Is that where it is? Holyoke?
Holyoke, Massachusetts.
You been?
Been there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if anyone's been there, it's you.
Had to.
I feel like
I
you've
had
had
to go.
every beach volleyball experience there is to have. You
Pretty
just,
close.
At every level, you just checked it off the box.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down for adventures.
Yeah,
If there was something kind of calling or something that I was like, not everybody gets the opportunity to do this, I'm for sure signing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of them have been in coaching, a bunch of them have been in playing, and it's all just been a blast.
Yeah. I just found out 10 minutes ago that you played in Norway for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, played 2 years in Sweden, 2 years in Norway.
Okay.
So I learned Swedish, and then I didn't pick up Norwegian that well. But I was super hyped up. I came out of college, and I was going into my first pro season, and I was okay, I got to learn the language before I go, and, going through, was it Rosetta Stone?
Oh, yeah.
And, learning that language before, I don't know if we had iPhones when I got out of college. 2008?
You went to...
Did smartphones happen
Mason,
in
right?
2000?
It came out right then, maybe.
Okay, so then I definitely had a flip,
7,
so...
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I learned all the words and the greetings and everything, and they just look at me like an idiot, and they're like, yeah, how you doing? That's great, but you don't need to speak Swedish for us. They're using English words with 5 syllables, and I'm like, all right, you've surpassed me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Every time I go to another country, I just hear them talking in 4 different languages, and then English is totally fine. I'm like, hola. That's all I got.
Hola.
I like traveling a little bit. I like it a lot of it. But I find that once you're already in there and that you're forced into it, you just find it back. Like, I'll find my high school Spanish quick.
Right.
If I'm in Mexico or if I'm in Spain or Costa Rica or something.
When you have like a total like immersion experience, like it comes back fast, and you also learn really fast because you have to. Yeah. In certain situations. Yeah. Yeah. This is pretty fun. Yeah. What were some of your favorite adventures of this past year?
Oh man, what happened?
Well, you went to Cambodia with Ian.
Went to Cambodia.
A little 2-star.
Have you like written out all of your adventures over the years? Like, if we asked you, like, do you think you could even come up with all of them? Because every year you're like you're not just on the tour. Like a lot of times I'm just on the tour. Ever since our New Zealand adventure, that was funny.
Good times. Jumping off bridges.
But you're like on this tour, that tour, but then also like this grassroots tour, and then like playing in this one over there, and then I don't know. Yeah, I feel like your list would be so long.
Maybe I should write it down someday.
I know, because I was gonna ask, and I was like, "There's no way he can rattle off everything."
Yeah.
You could rattle off a few of them, but
yeah, because I played I played a tournament on the Austrian tour, like just the Austrian tour. I played a couple tournaments on the French national tour. Definitely on the Norwegian and Swedish national tours. Wow. And then, FIVB, Norseka, AVP, Pottstown.
Grass tour.
Yeah. I don't know. I just had trouble saying no to tournaments. Right. And like I said, like trouble saying no to an adventure or a trip. It's too much fun. There's too much world to go and see and just like say no. And then if volleyball's either your ticket or your excuse, why not?
Right. Yeah. For sure.
I think I love the fact that even if I'm just going somewhere to travel, that I'll kind of hunt down my local volleyball contacts or like put it out on Facebook. Because if you got a sport or a hobby like volleyball and you're pretty good at it, you have built-in friends wherever you go. You know, they could never have met you before, but because you excel at like a social hobby or sport, those people will just gravitate towards you and they'll be like, oh, yeah, come to Arco. And then you play with them for 2-3 hours and then they're like, why don't you come out to this bar afterwards? You don't even have to do all the tourism stuff and like wonder where you have to go because your built-in friends will bring you.
It's like when we went to New Zealand. We like ended up staying everywhere for free, and like this family like brought us in and took us to their like lake house and cooked us a rack of lamb, and like we were just like fully dialed.
Awesome.
4 of us. We were just
the O'Day brothers. Yeah. Were just like every time there wasn't a practice or like right after practice, they'd be like, yeah, we're just going to this 100-foot waterfall to jump off it. You want to come? We're going to a 60-foot bridge to jump off it. You want to come? We're like, yes.
We're like, do you guys just jump off shit? Like
that's all they do.
Every day it was like, we're gonna jump off this. You want to come jump off this? We're like, you just jump. Is that what you do here? It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was it. And then running to the top of Mount Maunganui.
Maunganui,
that was it.
Dude, being on a volley trip with Mark Burik and Will Montgomery a whole month, you're just adventuring outdoors, volleying, and that's it.
And a little bit of competitiveness.
Yeah, a little bit of ridiculousness.
We raced to the top of Mount Maunganui twice, I think.
I think I like jogged behind probably. Yeah, go ahead and race, boys.
That was my first time meeting Tri. Was in New Zealand, and it was so funny. I don't know if you're like this anymore, but we would be like a solid hour and 35 minutes into practice, and then like the court's this way and he's on the other side, and I would just see him just kind of like the ocean's over there. Yeah. And he would just like start like wanting to go to the ocean. In between points he would like take 2 steps towards that and then remember that we're still practicing. Yeah.
Are we done?
It's so funny. Like,
the
waves you can't get out of the ocean.
Yeah. It's like when the waves are good, it's bad because then you're like watching, especially in Cali in the mornings, because the wind's just dead. Yeah. And as the day goes on, the wind starts picking up. I'm like, oh, the waves are getting worse. Like, I'm not gonna get my 2 nice rides after practice.
Especially now in like the winter when the waves are better. Like in the winter months.
Winter's good, yeah.
At least from what I've noticed is. Yeah. I'm not a surfer, but I do know like what a good wave
Look
looks
at you.
like.
Maryland's got great surf. Maryland's got great surf.
I did not grow up on the water. What? The East Coast does have pretty good surfing.
Pretty sure he was joking.
Yeah, that was sarcasm.
Well, I read.
Don't even try it there. Well, a boat drove by once and made a really nice wake.
Made a big one. The left breaker.
It was a left breaker, A-frame.
Dropping as many surf terms I know. That's the only one I got.
I don't know any. So bad.
But that New Zealand trip was pretty epic. That was like my introduction to being a beach volleyball player. Because I was playing overseas, and then Puerto Rico is a half year, so I had something to do with the extra half of my season. I could go overseas and play another half somewhere else, or take Will up on this New Zealand beach volleyball tour. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I got to do this.
Yeah.
And then Jeremy and Mark also decided to go, so it was just 4 of us with one car driving on the wrong side of the road, and just.
That's awful.
It was
it's so funny.
It was pretty hilarious.
Me and Jeremy both got knocked out of a qualifier like earlier than we wanted to, and we were sulking at the bar next to the qualifier courts. Yeah. And I just remember. You guys remember Hans Stolfus?
I know the name.
Yes.
He was like the AVP. If there was social media when he was around, he would be like you guys. Like he would be the one just like blowing up social media and doing it. He created like this thing called the hot stove, where he had the inside look at all partnerships and breakups and everything. So you'd wait for his like YouTube or video to release, and he would show like a picture, like a real picture of 2 players, and they'd be like, this partnership is over. And he would hold it over his stove.
And he'd burn it?
And it would burn it. And then he would go and say, like, what's next on the rumor mill.
We should do that.
Oh, man, we got to bring it back.
Amazing. Because he was just, like, at the inside, and people, like, as soon as you hear something on the beach, like, who's just decided to play together? Oh, like Tim and Theo. You know, he'd like release a video, or he'd run to Theo's house and knock on the door and be like, "I heard you playing with Tim next to you," and like shove a fake microphone in his face. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
We need some more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
now's the perfect time to do it because everyone's breaking up and getting new partnerships. Yeah. You got Chase and Kame and Casey and Troy and Tim and Theo, and now the trickle down effect.
Tim and Theo is an interesting one.
We'll see.
Because Tim's not on the world tour, so what is
That's
Theo
what I was thinking. I didn't think
here?
that could happen.
Yeah, I talked to Theo yesterday, actually, and he was like, I just really want to have fun. He's like, I'm done missing AVPs. Like, AVPs are the most fun events by far. Yep. And he's like, I'll try to pick up someone to play, like, maybe 4 or 5 international events. So,
I see.
Like, you know,
keep his
Ryan
points
Doherty
up.
doesn't want to travel to one, like, hey, Miles, like, what are you doing? Let's train for 2 days and go. And
he's going to keep his points up the first 2 years of the quad, and then probably get back into the Olympic race.
Who bails after the Olympic,
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of jealous. Like, he's going to go play AVPs and, like, commit to that. That's going to be fun. Yeah. And Timmy Baumgren's legit behind a really good block.
Such a chameleon.
They could steal a tournament for sure.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Easily.
And I think that...
Has Theo won one? He's won, what, one?
He won Seattle with...
He beat me.
Okay.
In Huntington one
year.
He
did say that his favorite volleyball memory was winning Seattle with Billy against Trevor and Taylor after being down 8-3 in the third.
Oh, yeah. So good.
He loves to rub that in Trev's face.
So he's got 2.
Does anybody not love rubbing something in Trevor's face?
I think anyone loves it.
For sure. That's a good point.
So, yeah, I just think Theo needed someone to like give him some love. You know, and Tim Baumgren's like the most supportive guy on the planet.
Oh, man.
Like Theo's played
just so nice.
Like Nick Lucena when Nick was like at his fieriest. And then...
That's what happens when you play with the best. I don't feel bad for Theo. He's played with every great defender that we've had for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That's true.
All of them.
Yeah.
But they're going to ride you hard.
Yeah.
And they have. Especially for Theo, who kind of does his own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now he's got Timmy. I'm excited to see that team. I think it'll be fun.
It'd be interesting. Yeah, it would be fun to see Theo have fun.
Yeah.
For sure. That'll be good.
How's your off season been though? You said you got out on the sand like first full practice today. What have you been up to since Hawaii?
Since Hawaii, so I run a company called Volley Camp Hermosa, just bringing players out to California. And coming out, you guys all knew it was like a little bit of a pain to figure out where to practice and figure out who to get you a coach and a court and whatever. So you just end up playing alone, not like serving one ball on one court. So I started a company 5 years ago, and we run camps out in California all the time, and now we have local classes going, so now it's nonstop classes. So it's been a ton of fun. In adventure, in business and finance and things that I never thought I would get into.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty exciting and fun.
Yeah.
And I've been working hard on that, and because of that, I probably swing at like 3 times as many balls as any other player.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know, like feeding, I've had to teach myself how to pick up balls because it screwed my back. I was picking up thousands of balls like the wrong way every year, swinging at tons of balls, and then you're out in the sun constantly.
Yeah.
So the first 3.5 years, I just roasted myself.
Yeah.
I would show up to tournaments and just be like, an off day. And that's like not the place you want to be when you're getting into a tournament.
Yeah.
But it's built now and it's starting to carry itself.
Yeah.
And we took this off season to really build some more systems to get more players in and to build some online courses so that I can help people get better at beach volleyball without actually being there in person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're doing the online courses.
That's awesome.
So pretty pumped about that, and haven't practiced at all.
Yeah.
Just lifting, getting stronger, and putting weight on my back again, which is it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's nice
for
sure.
It's nice to get back in the sand and everything, nothing hurts.
Yep.
It's like, wow, this is what it's supposed to feel like.
Yeah.
I'm in the exact same place, just lifting and being like, oh yes, finally, like putting this muscle back on.
Yeah.
Feels amazing. You feel like you're not going to break yourself every time like you dive or whatever, or at least have the potential to break yourself.
I got like a 225 power clean, which isn't like close to what my lifetime max is, but it was just nice just to throw some weight around and be like,
getting that extra 45 on there is just a good mental milestone. Like,
oh yeah,
yep,
2 big plates.
Yeah,
let's go. And then all the meatheads look at you in the gym and they're like, why is he throwing it around? You just push it and pull it. Meatheads are fun. I like being the guy making noise.
Yeah.
For sure.
How'd you go about founding Volley Camp Hermosa? Because like you said, like you didn't really expect to get into the world of like finance and everything. So, and 5 years ago, which in my mind, so you had it established before I moved here. So in my mind, like you've just been doing it forever. But really, it's not that long.
Traveling to enough places and seeing like everybody run classes and courses differently, and then I worked for a lot of vacations, like volleyball vacations. A Swiss one, a Swedish one, a German one. So all of these like volley tours is one of my favorite. They're now volley tours, but they run camps in Spain, and I became the head coach of that for a while.
Wow.
And I said, all right, I can do this too.
Yeah.
But I could do it where everybody knows that they need to go to get better at volleyball.
Yeah.
Like everybody in the world will always think of California as like,
it's the proving grounds kind of thing.
that's where you got to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And since I knew I was done with indoor, and I wanted to move out here, I was like, well, I could supplement myself for a while and at least pay for tournaments and feed myself through coaching.
Right.
And so I just kind of went for it. And I just knew how much of a pain it was for somebody to really like want to get better, and not have any direction for it.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it started out as like a volleyball hostel, where like there were gonna be 8 to 15, like 22 to 28-year-olds who had just finished indoor, just finished college, and wanted to come out and just like grind. And they're all gonna live together in one house. So at one point, I had I was renting 3 different apartments, and like Airbnb-ing them and using them for the camps.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
These apartments had 4 like bunk beds in them. I had one master bedroom that had 4 sets of bunk beds. So we had like 8 people sleeping there. It was so much fun and so crazy.
Yeah.
Like I was like cleaning toilets.
I'm
like
sure the neighbor loved you
for the next turnover and everything.
Neighbors just loved you.
Oh yeah, I got evicted from one place, and I was like, "There's nothing in your lease that says I can't like release it." So I did it like all legally, but they just didn't like that I was doing it. And then eventually I gave it to hotels, and I was like, I can do this without needing all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I also wanted the experience of like mentoring some young players.
Totally.
And just like, oh, okay, I can live with somebody who's passionate about the sport.
Yeah.
So that we're all living in a place where like each person helps each other grow.
Yeah.
So that was the initial thought,
right.
and that's still happening. But in order to do that, I would have had to catch every single 23-year-old, and every one of them would have had to like want to pay that fee and live in that house, and that model just didn't work to sustain just itself.
Yeah.
So then we had to like move to local classes and things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have a little volley hostel right now. You got
Logan
Weber
I got a
still in the
spare
casa
room.
And Lacey and Torn. You got a house of volley players.
Yeah. Logan Weber lives in my house.
Yeah.
Ricky Krutop, who is an Air Force guy, but now he's
Ricky Krutop.
Yeah.
Is that a real
That's
person?
his real name. Yeah. He was
Does
probably
he
like
fly
without
fighter
him
jets?
in my life. It would have been like 10 times harder to get onto a volleyball court in San Diego. But he was one of those key guys that if I didn't meet him, I would have spent an extra week like asking people to play. But he just inserted me into a group. So again, I realized like if certain people didn't treat me really well, it would have been such a pain for me to find the right players.
Right.
So that was it. But yeah, and then we've had a bunch of people at that house since. Like Alex Valkenhorst has stayed with us. Thomas Kuhnert stayed with us. Pierre Basset. So like top player from Germany, top player from Austria, top player from France. I don't know. It's fun. I like having that spare room. A, because I get to work in it, and then B, because it's like, you know what? There's a place where a volleyball person can just come and stay.
Yeah. That is cool.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite parts about traveling for tournaments is like people will see the AVP schedule, and so like random people in Austin would be like, hey, like love your podcast, have a couch if you want it. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
And like when I went to Israel, you like this one. I was there a day before Tim Brewster, Delaney, and Melissa got there. So I just had like one ball, and so I was just like literally like hitting standing shots like on the court, just like get the touch, and I was super bored and really jet lagged and didn't want to fall asleep. Yeah. And so these Austrian guys came up to me and were like, "Hey, I recognize like you're American. Like, are you Travis?"
I heard your voice.
And they're like, "We love the podcast," and so they were like, "Yeah, like." And I told them, I was like, "Yeah, like my buddies aren't coming in like till tomorrow." So they were just like, "Here, like come get lunch with us." So like spent the day with like these Austrian people, just like couldn't have been any nicer.
Built-in friends.
And like they listen to the podcast, so like, love you guys. You're great.
Built-in friends. It's
so cool.
Oh, it's so nice to travel and just have a hook or a reason to talk to somebody. And even if like you carry it and you put a volleyball, just tie it to your backpack. Yeah. Somebody's randomly just gonna come and talk to you and be like, "Play volleyball?" Yeah. You know, and it's not imposing or anything. It's just like, hey, we already have something in common, and you're reaching out to the people you know you're gonna like anyway. Yeah. Volleyball life's a good one, man.
I love it. Yeah. When you were at George Mason, like, did you envision the very winding path that like your life has taken since then? Just like jumping on random national tours and like jumping off bridges in New Zealand and starting a business in Southern California. And
not maybe not the business part, but I had a travel bug kind of my whole life. Yeah. My dad, it was funny. There was one of these like travel abroad semesters at University of Delaware where I went to first, and I forget what the class was, but you went to go zorbing in New Zealand, and zorbing is when you go inside like a giant clear bubble and they roll you down a hill. Yeah. And I was like, I want to do that. And my dad's like looking at this. He's like, this is a $14,000 1 month semester, and you're gonna go zorbing. He's like, I'm not gonna spend that. You're not gonna go there. Yeah. I have complete faith that you're gonna go and find your own way to New Zealand.
You'll zorb there one day,
and it won't cost you $12,000. Like, so no. Yeah. So he said no, and then whatever. I ended up at George Mason, and once I like really caught the volleyball bug, I was like, I'm taking this as far as I can, because I went from club at University of Delaware, and I begged a bunch of colleges to like let me try out. One coach, after Fred Chow at George Mason, after like contacting him 5 or 6 times, he finally answered the 6th time. He's like, "Oh yeah, I think you got your tape somewhere," and he's like, "You can come try out, but I don't think you're..." And I was like, "I'm there. See ya." Later. So I transferred, and he basically put me on the team because I hustled my ass off and talked a lot of shit, but I was not like skillfully ready to be there. He just liked that I talked enough smack in a fun way that like lit
Brought
fire under some
energy,
of people's asses.
Yeah.
Was Hudson there?
Yeah.
You were with Hudson Bates, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Got it.
So he was already there. He had transferred from Long Beach State back home.
Got it.
And he was the big dog at that time.
Literally.
He's always been a big dog.
He's huge.
He's huge. And now he's associate head coach at Ohio State.
Oh, really?
I should know. He's like one of my best friends. So, but yeah, he's now a men's coach at Ohio State. And it was funny to. Nah, I can't say that.
Can't tell that story.
I think just some places recruiting tactics are similar from when you're going to be a player and when you're going to be a coach.
Yeah.
Like, imagine being recruited as a player and the players showing you a great time.
Yeah.
He said that the coaches and alumni welcomed him in a really great fun way. So he got in the crew.
Yeah. I thought he'd have been a Virginia guy forever. He seemed like pretty content out there.
Yeah, he always knew he wanted to be a coach as well.
Yeah.
He can't get out of volleyball. He loves it too much.
Yeah.
And he's just like somebody who people follow naturally.
Yeah.
Like if you look at him, you talk to him, you meet him, and you hang out with him long enough, you're like, you can run into a burning building that's like currently collapsing, and I'll follow you.
Yeah.
So he's definitely a good dude.
Yeah. Well, you have a similar passion for volleyball in that, like, you seem like you're not going to get out of volleyball. Where did this start?
Lately it's been. I love volleyball like dearly, but I also don't. At the end of my life, I don't want it to be. This guy was a volleyball player.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Like, the part of like the adventure stuff is my favorite professor in college got his professor position not because he was like super smart in any one field, but because he had done so much.
Yeah.
Like he was like one of the first guys in a submarine. He was like a scuba diver. He worked on like a nuclear power plant. He flew planes for whatever reason. He had like all of these crazy stories, and University of Delaware goes, that's pretty cool. You want to teach stuff? He's like, yeah. And I kind of always envied him, somebody who had just done so many different things in so many endeavors.
Yeah.
It's tough to be, if not impossible, to be the absolute best at each one of those, but you can be great at all of them if you've got the work capacity. And so I don't know if I'm going to end my life coaching volleyball. I know that like my passion is in seeing somebody improve. Whether that has to be volleyball or not, I don't know. I do know that I get a kick out of like teaching my nieces and nephews chess and then like seeing them learn that. Like that fires me up.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe it'll translate to something else.
Yeah.
And then building this business has been fun, and I'm learning like a lot of tools that I can be like, my brothers and friends, they're like, oh, how do I do this? I was like, oh, set up this, and this, and there you go. And for the first 6 months of your business.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So that's fun. I don't know. I might play for another 10 years. I might play for another 4 or 5.
Well, the good thing is eventually your body's going to end your career for you.
Yeah.
Your playing career, at least.
Yeah.
So we're all going to have to figure something else out.
Yeah.
And those other skills are going to be very handy.
That's...
I'm thinking the same thing, but I'm not exactly moving
right
on.
here.
Yeah, right there. Here we go.
Like the lessons that you learn and the relationships that you're developing just because you're putting yourself out there, somebody's going to be like, oh, you've been on camera in front of... By that time, you'll be in front of millions of people. They're going to need you. Yeah. So,
oh, perfect.
It seems like
you're set.
And you learn like how to learn, because it seems like you're learning a bunch of different skill sets, and I think that's why like that professor was probably an excellent professor, because like he just learned so many things, so he just knew like the different modalities of learning, and probably was able to express that really well in the classroom.
Yeah.
Whereas you're doing something like pretty similar, just like learning, zorbing. I don't know if you've ever done it.
I still haven't gone zorbing.
Dude, we drove.
Damn it!
Remember we went to that, it was like a luau. I don't know what you call it in New Zealand, but we went to that cultural place where they did the haka for us, and we did the haka.
Oh, yeah.
When we were driving out there, we went past the big zorbing thing.
We did?
Yeah, we did.
You remember that?
I do. We also went bungee jumping that day.
I do remember bungee jumping.
We bungee jumped.
It makes me so happy that we just said we went past the big zorbing thing.
Yeah, that's how I know what zorbing was, because I was like, we drove past it. How did you not stop us? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We did a lot that day.
Money. I guess I ended up wanting to go bungee jumping, but...
We didn't have much. We had to decide zorbing or jumping off a cliff.
It's so funny just like looking at my friends who really have been making a good 6 figures for a few years.
Yeah.
And you're just like...
But then you're like, but what have you done?
Right.
I sat in this office and I grinded. You're like, well,
yeah. I can tell you about most countries. My girlfriend keeps getting mad at me. She's like, every time she's like, oh, we could go there. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's so much fun because we can do bop. And she's like, you already been there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, where's the place that you haven't been that you want to go?
Haven't that I really want to? Vietnam.
Okay.
I'd like to see like what my dad and my uncle went through. My uncle actually wrote a book on Vietnam. Yeah, he was a photographer.
Awesome.
Whoa.
And he had hundreds and hundreds of pictures from being in the infantry there.
Really cool.
That's intense.
I would like to go with my dad to Vietnam.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of Africa. I'd really like to go like on safari.
Have you been to Africa?
I've only been to Tunisia in Africa.
That's a little different than the
northeast. Yeah.
safari part.
I hear
it's
Cape
more like
Town
the
is
desert.
like one of the greatest places ever.
I went to Cape Town. My first FIVB with Derek Olson in Durban, and then we drove to. It was the last event of the year, so your last event of the year is like your start of your vacation.
Yeah.
And so we were in Cape Town for like 2 weeks, and it was just like epic. Everything's like, it's so cheap there. It's like everything's half off. So you're just buying everything, sushi, you're just living like a king.
Put it in Tupperware in case you come home. And
Yeah. Totally. But then you can drive. Yeah, you can drive and do safaris, which is a crazy experience. And then you can drive up to these valleys, and they have all these vineyards. So you're like in these wineries and doing that whole thing, and dude, it's epic.
I've never been to a winery.
What?
Really?
I know.
I live in California.
I've been to France like 5 times. I've been to Italy a few times. I live in California. I've never been to a winery. And I have a friend who owns a winery.
Dude.
Like,
Just not a wine
he's
guy?
4
or just
hours
like
north.
having a
No,
time to go?
I love wine. That's the opposite.
Right, yeah.
But no, I've never been to one, and I do want to go. So if you got a winery and you want to do an official volleyball invite,
Contact Volley Camp Hermosa. You could do volley
Camp Hermosa
volley
or
whining.
SANDCAST, and
SANDCAST.
we will run an episode from a
From
viewpoint
the winery?
in your winery.
Right, yeah. Oh,
Awesome,
yeah.
that'd
With
be
a big
little
giant
background.
glass of red.
Yeah,
Just put us up, a few bottles of wine,
That's
and
it.
we got
Easy
you.
reaching out. That's how you
Podcast
reach out
on
to
location.
sponsors.
Yeah.
Totally.
Sweet, actually.
That
Yeah.
would be fun.
I
Could be
just
you.
stopped my off-season habits. Now I'm back into like getting clean again. So.
Getting clean again.
Getting clean, yeah.
Getting clean.
just not drinking on football days.
This is what average people do
Thursday,
every
Friday,
Right.
Saturday, Sunday. The problem is that
They
they're
keep adding
currently
football days.
adding football days, and I have
Every
no
day.
control. So.
Yeah.
And then Taco Tuesday. Like,
on Wednesdays. You're just clean though. Wednesdays.
yeah, Wednesday's fine.
You're
Well,
just good
Wednesdays
to
you
go.
have Maction. If you're a fan of Mac football, they have college football.
What's Mac?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't
Only
even
you
know
know
what
that
the
one.
conference stands for, but it's like
Mid-Atlantic Conference.
probably.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like kind of the mid-major college.
On Wednesdays?
Yeah, Maction.
All right, there you go. So
I'm
now
gonna
I got
pass.
every day of the week
It's
covered.
hilarious because like those games, the mid-major games are fun to watch. It's like, I mean, games will be like 71-65 because it's just like pretty bad football.
It's all about option offense.
Yeah, it's great.
Faster team wins.
They're like pitching and stuff, full rugby style.
Have you taken a look at next year's schedule and starting to plan it out now that the FIVB's I'm pretty sure finalized by now?
I wrote my schedule down
And
yesterday.
the AVP. I don't know if you've taken a look and start.
I looked at it.
Broke it down.
Every now and then I get a little heads up because we run camps right at the end of each AVP.
Okay.
So I've known the AVP schedule for a little bit, or at least half of it, but
Yeah.
some of the dates were like in flux.
Yeah.
Right.
So that helped us build our camp schedule right after that. And now I'll just start looking at the tournaments and seeing what's up this year.
Yeah.
I got slightly disenfranchised last year, like going to Cambodia. Disenfranchised, is that the word?
I don't know.
I like
think
it.
so.
Travis
enjoyed
would
it.
know.
Yeah.
But, you know, you go there, travel, you spend a week, and the 1 star, you can't come out positive if you travel for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this really professional volleyball? Like, it's still the adventure, cool,
right.
but I could throw down on some adventures without, like, going through all that stress.
Yeah. And was especially discouraging for me, and actually a note from that Cambodia tournament was the wild cards. For 1 stars, the host country gets 4 automatic main draw wild cards.
Wow.
So, yeah. So, like, me and Tim Brewster would have been, like, the 6 in main draw. We got bumped out into the qualifier and then snuck back in because 2 teams dropped. But, like, you're getting 4 teams with 0 points. And, like, in Cambodia, they had women's teams that, like, lost 21-0. Yeah. And it's like you're robbing, like, people who actually want to climb the ladder of legitimate spots just to put in a team that has never played volleyball. It's like kind of like Norseka-ish.
It's for the whole of the sport. It's probably good to get their teams introduced to that.
Yeah.
And, that way you don't have to, like, pay a team to come and kick our team's butt for 2 months, which more federations and more teams should do.
Yeah.
Like, younger teams should do, like, basically what Troy did, and just, like, show up to the court, do whatever, practice for them, be a blocking dummy. Jeremy Casebeer did that too. Yeah. He was a serving and blocking dummy for maybe Lambert.
Oh, really?
No, that was too late. I forget who. Somebody in 2008 who was doing good work.
Stein, maybe? I know he's close to Stein.
I think Stein was coaching the team that he was against. But you just show up and you expect nothing. You expect to be given nothing and say, like, I'll give you everything, whatever you need, and you're going to learn straight from that.
Yeah.
That's so valuable. And people keep forgetting, like, that internships developed for a reason.
Right.
Like, redshirt seasons developed for a reason. Yeah. And you just want to go out on the beach and be like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
How many players did I have to convince that they're doing, like, things the wrong way and technically inefficient? It's like, get a coach. Let them just help you skip past all of this nonsense.
Yeah.
Because if Phil Dahlhauser and Nick Lucena have a coach, but you say you don't need one, you're a moron. Like, with all due respect, you're a damn idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think people get a little bit too cocky too early, and then they also, like, don't want to spend the money, or they're not sure. And then you spend 1 session with a quality coach, and it gives you 1 piece of advice. And when you take 1 piece of advice from 1 practice, that's not 1 piece of advice that holds you for that point. That now gives you thousands of points for the rest of your career, for the rest of your life. And then whoever you teach gives them thousands. Right. So if you get 1 solid piece of advice from 1 great coach, that's going to affect the rest of your career, and that'll magnify. And people think that 1 piece of advice is 1 piece of advice. It's not. Right. It's thousands of points.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's something you can build upon, that 1 piece of advice, and then you apply it, and then you're like, oh, and I can take it here from there, and blah, blah, blah. It's kind of a big thing right now, just coaching in general, and, like,
it's growing.
It should be growing more. I think we talked about it with Mike Dodd last week. There's a lot of coaches on the World Tour. I think they're doing, like, creating like a little ballot to see, like, what players think, whether
to put them in the box or not.
Yeah, they should be in the box.
You think so?
I mean, I think so. I just think the more knowledge in our sport, the better the players are playing. If you have an advantage because you have a good coach, that's most sports in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, if Popovich is your coach, sorry, all-star who plays for the Hornets, you're still going to lose to some players that aren't as good as you because you have a good coach or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think it's making the players better in general. It's raising the level of our sport, and it's creating more opportunities within being a beach volleyball player. Now you can be a coach. And the more people that are doing this as a full-time job, the bigger the sport's going to get, I think. And it seems like, a lot of the coaches are fed up with it. Like, Dodd was talking about it to the extent where he's like, I put in all this time to coaching because I thought it was going to take off and I could really do something great with it. And he's really disappointed in that it didn't turn into anything. And they don't get respect in terms of,
they don't.
We're not paying for your hotel. We're not paying for your you're gonna fly there with your team. Well, we're gonna give the players a ride to the hotel, but you can find your own way.
Yeah, and then you got
it's like a joke.
Lockheed,
and then where the players
sleeping on the floor.
Yeah,
as they're
sleeping on.
Yes, I'm on the highest level of beach volleyball in the world. Yeah, we're vying for the Olympics. Yes, I sleep on the floor between my players.
Right.
Like,
well, I got a wife and kids at home.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of a joke. But luckily we have coaches like them who are like willing to do it, even though it's not financially.
Right.
Really.
Yeah.
They're not getting their value.
Love for the sport.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of ego in there, a little bit, where you're like, man, I can help these people, and that feels good to a coach.
Right.
You know, it's just a different type of ego. It's like, it feels good for players to win. It feels good if you can help somebody win.
Right. And if you're a big part of it, like, your players will let you know.
Yeah.
The public probably will never give you as much credit as you deserve.
Agreed.
But
you look at
other sports,
like
the
US
coaches
Open,
do.
and they're not in the box. They're not allowed in the box.
Right.
But it's nonstop camera clips to the coach. Like,
right.
This is their coach. This is their coach. This is their team.
Yeah, that's true.
And they're like, oh, I wonder what they're talking about now. And that's not what you see
Dude,
ever
Jose,
on the FIVB. Like, there's never one.
Our coaches don't have somewhere to sit most of the tournaments. Like, they're like,
it's a problem.
There's not even a coach's box. He should be sitting on the back, or like on the sideline, not the back line, because then you're looking at everyone's calls and they don't want you to be too close.
4 seats in your
Well, on the World Tour, you have everywhere to sit.
Well, unfortunately. No, but like in Mexico, like I have no idea where Jose is, and he's like, "Did you see me? I was like up there with all." I'm like, "Dude, the stands are packed, and they're warming up, so they're literally on the court until the first whistle, or like almost the first whistle. So every seat's full. Like if the stands are packed, like the coach is like standing on the side, like next to a pole, like peeking his head out, which is like so ridiculous."
What do you think, like, the top 2 advantages, like, if you can nail it to one word, that having a coach has done for you at any given point?
Oh, man. I mean, first of all, you're taking usually like in my case right now, I have Jose Loyola. He's one of the greatest players of all time. So everything I'm doing out there, he's already done it, and better. So, like, he can relate to anything I'm doing out there and give me his perspective on it, which is extremely valuable. It makes me feel more comfortable and like, it also puts it in perspective to where I'm like, this is huge, this is big, and I'm like, he's already like won. He has the record for winning the most World Tour events in a row, and I'm trying to win one here. Like, this is a big deal. Like, it's huge for me, and it's a big deal in this day and age. But like, there's bigger things.
Yep.
Like, let's just like, you got this.
Yeah.
But I mean, the experience, like at practice, he's constantly like, my coach used to tell me that. This is what Jim Mangus used to tell me. I used to play against Karch, and this is what he used to do. Why do you think this player was so good? Because he has all these experiences. So it's not even his knowledge sometimes. And then other times it is his knowledge, where it's like, I used to have one hit that I was known for. Everybody knows I just hit angle over everyone because I jumped higher than everyone. And then he's like, but then they got on it and they started talking, Jose can only hit. So I developed this. And then they started talking, Jose can only hit and hit a cut shot. So then I developed the high line. And, he's just like telling me based off his experiences how I can apply that to my game. And then they're seeing stuff from a completely different perspective off of the court. Like, it's like when you watch film after, you're like, oh, I really messed that up. I thought I was being cool and like swaggy with like this no-look cut shot or whatever, but it was really just a stupid play or whatever, Yeah. Like, I should have just put the ball down on the floor or vice versa, where you're like, I thought that was really dumb. And then you see it from the outside, you're like, actually, that was logical. Like, they picked it up, but like, I kept the ball in. It was a smart play, blah, 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 whatever. So they can give you that outside perspective in the moment. And if they're on the court with you, now that you're getting that information like every time out. Yeah. And they're even arguing like, let the coaches talk during the match, which I think would be interesting. At least to try it out.
Yeah. I don't need them running out there and complaining to the refs for me. But
right, yeah.
I'll handle that.
Stop. That's my favorite part. Don't take this away from me.
Who have been...
Alex Volkins just posted something that he said, like, it's a picture of him yelling at the ref.
He was so bad in Mexico.
I'm not yelling at the ref. I'm just explaining to him why he's wrong.
Very, very loudly.
He's funny.
Dude, if you watched our event in Mexico, He was chatting with the refs a lot.
Any of his matches, not just yours. Like Jake and Taylor, like it was nonstop.
He will not back down from anybody. You should see him in like his battles with the German Federation. Like he's just somebody who, when he sees something that he believes is wrong, does not see it another way, and will refuse to try to see it your way, and he will let you know constantly that it's wrong.
But he seems like a pretty logical person at the same time. It's not like overly
he's super intelligent. He's not like a bulldog.
Right.
But he's like, you're wrong. And like, well, okay, but no, you're wrong. But he's had like battles with the German Federation, and he's like, the way that you're doing this is dumb. It's hurting the players, and it's not benefiting anybody.
Right.
And he goes, you need to change this, and he'll speak up. So this guy I really respect and
for sure.
Appreciate.
Yeah.
No. Sorry, you're about to say.
Oh, you're good. I was going to ask who were some of the coaches or players or anybody who has helped you when you were younger, kind of in a coaching or role model type role.
This year, like, I sat down. I said I don't want any volleyball. I don't want to practice. I hired Rich Lamborn to come with me and Ian, and I said, just sit down and do 2 hours of film with us. That's all I want. Just 2 hours of film and check out what you're seeing and what you're doing. And those 2 hours of film changed the entire way that we changed things, because we were so focused on what we were doing the previous year and trying to get just a different block defense lineup. We're so focused on doing that, and it still wasn't happening. And then it started happening, and it was like, okay, good, we got that. But then we got hooked on that. And to be a great blocker, you need to show tons of different looks and get the other player uncomfortable. And he's like, okay, so you got all these blocks early in the game, and then you stayed in that timing, that rhythm, that look, and the hitters figured out, whether they knew it consciously or not, they figured out what you were doing, and you never changed. You just stayed in that. So you're giving that offense the same look. Right. If you just compare that to an NFL game, if one team ran the exact same defense and the exact same blitz every single play, you wouldn't do it. But then again, if you're not strategizing, if you're just changing at random and there's no reason for it, then that's also not going to serve you. Right. You can't just be like, oh, he just got 5 cross court kills. Let's run a 3 on him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that doesn't make any sense. We're not going to just change it just to change it. Let's stop the bleeding where it's happening.
Right.
So he picked that out. And where we thought we were doing pretty okay, but not getting blocks and wondering why, he's like, well, because you're doing the same thing the entire time.
Hitters are getting in a rhythm.
Yeah, hitters got into a rhythm, and then that's why we were never getting blocks in the second set. It was just done. And then, if the front man doesn't do their job, it's a lot harder for the back guy to do their job. Yeah. So.
That's what I learned, because I've been a blocker this whole time, and then I step behind, and I'm realizing that my moves are based off of the timing of his block. Mm-hmm. You're moving at the same time you're supposed to be, or whatever, depending on what you're doing. But I didn't realize his blocking style, me and Trevor's blocking styles are so different, right? So different. I'm down low, doing all this shifty stuff down low. And he doesn't have that flexibility. He's just kind of up top and making good reads with his hands and whatnot. But I'm kind of playing defense I'd play behind my block. Mm-hmm. So our timing's off, and I had to realize I'm playing defense for his block and vice versa. And he was playing defense for his style of block too, right? Which is super interesting, I thought.
Something that Rich helped me out with was I was playing too much behind my blocker's block. I got back into an indoor rhythm where there's a hole, fill it. Mm-hmm. And I would be too concerned with filling the hole. Keep that.
We don't edit.
And I was it clouded me seeing what the hitter was doing. Instead of I would see a hole open and I would fill it, even though the hitter was clearly going over a high line. I was wait a second. Yeah. Why did I lose my ability to read? I'm seeing certain things. So then towards the end of last season, I started completely ignoring my blocker. And I said, it's me versus the hitter. I don't care where he hits. It's my responsibility. Right. And that's towards the end of the season, I just started getting digs on digs on digs on digs. I got something like 20-something digs against like Hayden and Theo, which was the first time I've ever gotten, I think, more than 2 digs on Hayden.
Right, yeah, exactly. That's tough.
But it was just a simple, like, one change where it's like, okay. Mm-hmm. So now I'm more in the mode of, like, playing a little bit more one-on-one with the hitter and then hoping that my blocker does their job. But if they don't do their job now, I'm not just hopeless.
Right.
So that was fun, and I hope I can carry that into next season. The season's coming.
Yeah. For sure. There's so much to learn. It's crazy. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I seriously, like, take a step back. I'm like, I got to learn this game. Like, I got to start learning it because I haven't been learning it this whole time. I'm just like, I feel like I've been winging it. But then I step back again, and I'm like, no, you've been learning it with the best in the world, and you're doing it at the same level. But there's just so much to learn, and there's so many people that are good at this thing, but not as good as you at this thing, and like everyone's good at their certain things. So there's infinite things to get good at.
Everybody's learning from a 23-year-old kid in Norway.
Right? Like, yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's
he gets it. Now we got to keep up with him.
Yeah.
And it's like,
exactly.
All right, yeah. Like when we were studying blocking, like Rich was like, well, he's the best in the world right now.
Right.
So we're just going to watch what he does. And we sort of just picked a few of their games. Stuff like that.
It's hard to get.
And then, like, you've been on the AVP now 3-4 years. And we're like, okay, like, run a spread block. He's like, don't really do that.
It's like,
all right.
Give a spread block problem.
Ian?
Mark, I don't know what that
this
means.
guy.
Oh, you? Oh.
Like, I mean, you spend enough time with guys, like, just leave your hands outside your shoulders a couple times. He's like, what do you mean?
It's
like,
really.
I don't have time to explain this right now. They're about to start.
Just put your hands wide. Did I do it? Well, they started wide.
I tried so hard, and then I was like, oh, man.
Dude, split blocking's hard. Cause, I mean, I had it down, like, when I feel like I did it kind of a lot when I was younger. So when I came out with Hayden and we practiced it, I was like, I had it down.
Yeah.
But then I'd stopped playing for like 2 years. And then I came back and playing defense, and we haven't really run it much. And I went out one practice to do it. I was like, holy crap, I like lost it. Like, it's really hard to keep your hands out without putting your head down and like watch the ball.
And then be active with both
with
hands.
With 2 hands separately.
And be like, okay, if he goes over here, now I'm going to have to bring this one over here, but leave this still.
Sometimes,
and then you can't be like this needs to be shaped.
You can't be
perfectly.
straight out.
You can't do this, which is your natural reaction. You have to be like,
you have to shape it,
And then you hope that somebody's like tall enough and has long enough arms to actually do that type of block. Because if you're 6'2" and you're going like this, like, I'm not gonna block it.
That's why you have to set your base up in the right spot. And if the ball's off the net, then you're audibling. Because good luck split blocking on the ball that's off the net. You're just standing in the middle, and doing nothing basically. But you have to decide all that from like now to now. So
and feel it
good luck.
Each point. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I don't know where he's going, and he's not giving me any tells. So now I'm gonna be out here. That's fine.
Yeah.
And then you get so used to that, and then you're like, and then the ball's like right here, and the ball's like on your face. And like, like, I did the split block, right?
I tried to get it over.
You nailed it.
You touched my hat.
Taylor's just coming, knocking your sunglasses off.
Yeah.
That's why I like nerd out so hard because ever since like we played, I've like moving your hands independently as a blocker is so hard, and no one really understands that until you're like in beach volleyball, because like you're like, oh, I can move my hands so like look at me go, but then you're at the net and you're like, they're going together. So I watched like Jake Gibb like drag his seam hand like
master,
and I'm like, this dude is ridiculous.
So
That's so hard to do.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's totally natural and easy movement because you're literally just like letting your hand come with you, but it's so hard.
I think like some that like he's really good at is kind of being up and being like 3/4 extended.
Yeah.
And then like finishing into it. Like I know that sometimes I'll see you jump and you'll be like, don't know. Okay, there.
Yeah.
Like you jump and then you wait to see where somebody's about to hit and then you throw it out.
It's like hanging them up there. And then also like once you're up, it's not just coming back down. It's like peaking and then hanging them a little over that split second longer. And that's like where they'll hit a cut or something. And it'll just graze your finger, but enough to where it lands on their side instead of yours, kind of thing. But blocking independently is super difficult.
It's so unrewarding.
The way that I think about it is like,
you can do everything perfect and not get the point. It's like, all right.
Totally. Yeah. The way I think about it is like, you know your call. So if you're blocking line, don't let them hit low line. Like that's the first thing. They might hit a high line, but don't let them hit low line. So like go up, set yourself up, and go put that hand on that low line. And now you don't need two hands for that. That hand's there. So now the other one's free.
You don't need two hands for that. People don't get that.
Right. You're like, no, like you seal it.
That's
like,
got this.
Now that I sealed it with my lineup.
Now this guy can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, now I can go high line and funnel to my guy, or I can steal that low seam.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Also, like people don't get that like breaking your elbow actually like makes your hand go straight over. Yeah, more penetration, and your hands are now the right angle to block it versus this. So now it's gonna graze off your fingertips.
This is gonna blow people's minds when they hear like.
Well, good luck going out there and doing it. Like, oh, I did it here, but that hand didn't stay. It's tough.
We tried doing it, and it's tough because like a lot of the guys I coach are like B.A. level and some before, and so you're trying to teach them certain things, but you can't put 10 years of experience into like one practice.
Yeah.
So we teach the majority of B and A players like you should not be blocking. If this guy can't hit hard enough where you can't just catch 10 out of 10 balls, you shouldn't be blocking.
Yeah.
Period. And so then they just kind of get upset to where they like, no, I need a blocker, or I need somebody tall.
Yeah.
No, you don't. You need somebody who can pass and set.
Yeah.
Like, and just look and place the ball. You don't need a blocker to win a B. I
Right.
guarantee you an AVP player can win a B or an A standing.
Oh, for sure.
And that would just prove to you, like, that you do not need a blocker to win tournaments. You just need ball control and vision.
I mean, Mexico qualified pretty much standing.
With a cut shot and a high line.
Every time.
Yeah.
But we were doing this like kind of one drill at our classes, and it was just poking a ball, and then they would wait until they see if it's up there and then jump and get it. Because most people just always jump like at the same time as the hitter.
Right.
And then there are those moments where it's like, wait a second, jump after it. Who had it? The Buttinger. Chase had this one highlight. Maybe somebody posted it for him. I don't know. But it was somebody who's down, like on the ground, about to hit a cut shot. He waited.
That was me
the
and
ball
Miles.
got halfway to him. It was you and Miles? The ball got halfway to him. Then he jumped and then threw it down.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody outside the top 8 blockers in the country would probably jump with that hitter instead of knowing that this person has to hit it up, waiting to see where the ball is, and then dunking it.
Yeah.
It's like,
The longer you wait, the better your vision is.
Yeah.
Because things are now happening rather than you committing to a move. Once you're in the air, you're in the air. You can't change your center of gravity. You can like wave your hands around and change your hands in the air, but so the longer you're on the ground, the more control you have, You can at least jump sideways or jump in directions or take a little micro step. Like it's amazing what a 3-inch step will do. Like that's gotten me so many blocks and lost me so many blocks. I'm like, oh, take the step.
Yeah.
Because 3 inches at the top of the net is a lot, but when you think about it at your feet, you're like, whatever. It's jumping from the same spot.
Right.
But that translates to where your hand is over the net too. And not many. Everyone, if you watch everyone's feet, set goes up, set their feet, and then jump. Probably fade one way or the other a little bit. Watch really good players. Set their feet, micro step, go. So it's that little adjustment that like people don't realize.
especially if you're not 7 foot. If you're 6'9", something like that, you can get away with it.
Well, that's the thing.
Like
Like
a
people,
6'6" blocker or
Yeah,
6'3"
exactly.
guy, your feet like Bill Klinski. Like, all right, he's not roofing people, but the man gets more touches
Yeah.
than anybody I've ever seen because all of the stuff he does with his feet way before anything.
But if you study like Anders Mole, like that guy gets away with a lot of whatever.
Puts his ass on
Just
his
get
heels
up there. Just get up there, and he can be like, I'm blocking line. Nah, you know what? I'm gonna take sharp angle.
Sharp angle, not just that.
And whereas like most of us are like, I'm in the line. Like you're digging the angle here, like, cause I can't reach that.
Yeah, I feel like teaching people how to block based on Anders Mole is like teaching kids how to play basketball based on like Steph Curry. It's just like not a good idea. Like he
just pulls up 5 feet.
Yeah, well, I can shoot from half court. Fine. Yeah, Steph does it. It's like Anders does things that like I can't do. So I'm not going to try to emulate that, or I'm going to look like an idiot.
But at least Steph is one of those players that looks like the average Joe somewhat.
Yeah.
Even though he's a lot bigger than he looks in the NBA. Whereas like Anders is like the Dwight Howard kind of.
Yeah.
Or like KD, I'd say more. Yeah. Where he's like 7 foot but with handles.
Yeah.
You're like, you can't teach that. Just good luck.
Yeah. I think like if you want to teach blocking, like find like a Smedens. Kalinsky, I think, is a great example because like that dude is like the most fundamental blocker. He's just like hands, feet, and low press.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, you got to be creative too.
Yeah,
I think Kalinsky's not that creative with it.
Yeah, but he's getting every ounce of anything he can.
No, I agree.
What he's given, and he's an absolute.
He's doing
workhorse.
what works. Totally.
Yeah.
It's not the funnest to watch.
No.
But.
Well, you're not really fun to watch either.
Whatever. That's fair.
A little fire sometimes.
I don't know. I fire up. I punch ref stands.
Padded once.
Yeah. Still broke it. What would happen if it wasn't padded?
I think, like, for any players out there, probably one of the most important things is finding a player who has similar physical abilities as you and like a similar stature, and be like, okay, that person's that high, doesn't jump like an animal, like he could be 6'4", but not have a 45 Troy Field inch vertical. So if you're 6'4" and you're trying to model Troy Field, no, like stop, because he's gonna hit a sharp angle. It's the 3 foot line, and you're never going to do that.
Right.
Like I wouldn't model myself after him if I were a young player right now.
Right.
So I think people got to spend more time, and maybe the AVP could do a better job of that, and they're doing a decent job of that now, showing like 2 courts on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, it's done.
But one of the unsung heroes I think of beach volleyball is Jim Schaefer.
Yeah.
From Mission Beach Volleyball.
Yeah.
Who has been posting matches on YouTube
and who
for the
cuts
AVP.
Him up too.
Yeah, for forever.
Yeah.
And you get a chance to see players who like look and move like you, so that you can then be like, okay, I'm gonna watch this guy over and over and over and over again until I get it. Like Todd Rogers, he was 6'2.5". I'm 6'2.5". I was hurt for a whole off season, and I watched every one of his matches. And I came out in day 1 in Huntington Beach. This was 6 or 7 years ago, and I saw how he won jousts, and it was crazy. He didn't push and like release. He didn't fight any tight set. He saw that the blocker's hands were there, and he would just like the ball was here, and he would like swing with all his might straight, meaning to like knock the other guy's arm over.
Right.
And that's how he won all of his like things that would otherwise normally be a 50-50 joust.
People are going to like hold it, and then he just hits it through.
Yeah. And I was like, I saw it once, didn't even notice it, saw it a second, third, or fourth time. And then I was like, that's just how he wins that play. And nobody stops it.
Yeah.
And I came out on like day 1 of my first season down Huntington Beach, and there's this big 6'9" guy there. I got like 4 or 5 tight sets, did that same exact thing every time. And I was like, hadn't practiced it because I studied film and I studied somebody who looked like me. I picked something up. And I was like, I would not have won those points last year if I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good call. That's what you did, right?
When you came out? How I learned is just through YouTube. So every time I do get a coach, I'm like, oh my god, it's mind blowing.
You guys have a YouTube channel now, right? These are all coming on YouTube.
Yeah.
Nice. Do a little exchange.
Let's go.
Yeah. Do a little.
I'll throw people
trade
to you. Make sure they're all going to SANDCAST. You guys throw some
to
people.
you.
If you're watching,
that's what it's all
go
about.
hunt down the Better at Beach YouTube channel, where we do a bunch of those
Better
drills.
at Beach.
Actually, where can the listeners find you in all of your different avenues? We got Volley Camp. We got Better at Beach.
Yeah, Volley Camp Hermosa is like our local classes here in Hermosa. So if you want to come to a camp, or if you want to come to classes or private lessons, or video analysis, like I told you, like I spent 2 hours with Rich and changed the entire way that we play defense for the rest of the season.
So you'll sit down with athletes?
Yeah.
And
don't
break
even
down
have to
video?
sit down with them. We screen share.
Oh, nice.
So I've done it for people in Australia, people in Canada. I did it for this one dude in Austria.
Technology's great.
A bunch of American players. And I say, all right, just all you got to do is tape a match. It doesn't have to be a tournament match, but you playing against boys, and I guarantee I will pick something up that you can take on or use better.
Right.
Just go through film together.
That's awesome.
Screen sharing. And so that's all Volley Camp for most of the stuff anyway. And then online courses like workouts. everything like that, like a serve receive course we have up right now, a 60-day strength and conditioning plan.
Nice.
Just specifically for beach volleyball players. That's all on betteratbeach.com.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dope.
So,
good deal.
And most of it, probably like 75% of it, we post on YouTube for free. And if you want to work closer with us, then work closer with us.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I know we don't have a ton of time. You're heading out to
I'm good
here
for now,
relatively soon. I did want to circle back. You mentioned that you were disenfranchised with the FIVB, and then we got into coaching and stuff, but back to kind of looking at your 2020 schedule, and if you had kind of figured anything out.
Haven't looked at it other than the AVP schedule. I will start looking at that now. This was like, this section of the year is focused on me just like rebuilding the business, getting my body back, all the imbalances that happened during the season, like get my body so that it's ready to be strong and fast and athletic again.
Yeah.
But no, I'd of course like to get back on the World Tour. I did it strong, did it well, like the season that 2 tournaments we played together in Brazil.
Yeah.
I was doing well there. I had Kurt Toppel as a partner, and we were like beating solid teams. Took a fifth.
Dude, we should have made the Rio Grand Slam. We drew Bieler Strasser, and we played pretty well. They were careering. They beat us barely.
I still watch that match.
You watch it? I didn't want to think about it. But then they went on and beat Evandro and Pedro, and like they won their pool in Rio against the Brazilians. It's literally the best tournament of their career. And me and Mark, our first tournament together, because Hayden was hurt.
Yeah.
We flew down to Brazil last second, and we were playing good, but we drew them like careering. Yeah, so that sucked.
World Tour is crazy.
And there was stuff like I was trying to. We didn't have practices together.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, how do I be Hayden for?
I was kind of just talking like the way I talk with Hayden, because you kind of wanted that, but it was still like, I was like, okay, and it's just like a lot of information, and it's hard to learn quickly.
Yeah, we were trying to. I don't know. I was, instead of playing like the way that I just wanted to play or the way that I was comfortable playing, I was like, all right, let me kind of change it up and try to like run
I'm gonna be John Hayden.
Yeah, like I'm gonna be Hayden. Like, and that was a huge mistake.
Yeah,
I actually just like played up and down volleyball, which I had been doing, and said I was just kind of like spraying things and wondering if he was gonna be there, but doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work out often. Sometimes it does. Like
We played pretty good ball though.
We did.
And I mean that was a Grand Slam. Like that was the whole world was there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was kind of disappointing. But then we did a helicopter ride over Rio.
That's right.
From the Sugarloaf.
We did do a helicopter ride.
Yeah.
From the
See, you do
Jesus
so
statue,
much,
right?
you think that you forget this stuff.
I should write that stuff down.
Yeah.
Man.
Dude, you guys have had some good adventures
Yeah,
together.
we have.
Yeah, that's weird.
Just random. It doesn't even seem like it. Like, me and Mark don't spend that much time together, but yeah, we've done a lot.
It's pretty epic when it happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mostly
we go big
involving
when
heights.
Right, yeah, I guess so. Jumping off shit, being in helicopters. Yeah, bungee jumping, wow.
But no, I'm gonna definitely get some World Tour events, but I'm looking at it a little bit differently now.
Yeah.
I think a few years ago I was like driving around the South Bay, and I'm not bragging, but I wasn't like the dumbest kid in school, and I just kept wondering like how these people in Palos Verdes have these $1 million houses, and I'm like, there cannot be this many people like statistically that much smarter or better than me.
Right.
It's just that they're finding these avenues or the right button to press, and if you apply the same pressure, like the same amount of pressure to a different button, this one will send out dollar bills, and this one will like make it rain poop on you. And I said, okay, so it's not that everybody who is wealthy is a genius. Right. It's just that they're applying pressure in the right direction. And I think that applies to like a lot of things. Yeah. You know, you could work as hard as you can, like I said with Ian, when we were doing that one block, and it was like we're applying all of that pressure right there, and if we just apply a little bit of pressure here, it will get completely different results. Yeah. But I looked at that and I said, so I just got to find the ways to apply some pressure. And then I got into real estate, and so in the last 3 years, I bought 6 houses.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
That works.
Yeah. Found a couple of little like application pressure secrets, and it's nowhere near generating any money right now. It's like almost broke even, but in 2 years it'll start being they'll start coming once I've paid off some like big initial loans and people that trusted me. I turned $75,000 into 6 houses. So and now they're all cash flowing. So they're all giving me money each month.
I'm gonna need some lessons.
Get the next lesson,
but
at better at beach volleyball.
Also, see, I'll use the volley camp like knowledge, and then I'll start like a real estate thing. But no, that's been a learning experience, and lost some and won some. But it's like, all right, I need to start planning for some type of future. Like I've had a lot of adventures, and that's cool. And looking at tournaments and going, all right, I can't make any money by going there. So now I'm trying to find ways of like, with the YouTube channels and things like you guys get going. All right, well, even if you go to sleep for 3 days, your YouTube videos are still showing.
Right.
And if you have online courses built, that's bringing you some kind of money where you don't need to be physically present, and at least something is developing. So I'm starting to look at tournaments a little bit more financially, where it just used to be like, yeah, I'll go to Wapaka and spend $1,300 on travel to win like $800.
Right.
Right. Yeah. To win.
Yeah. It's a great players' party. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
So I think that's it, and I think the more, and one message that I wanted to like put out before people go, if they're still listening, is if you love beach volleyball, 1,000% the best way to help it grow is to like, comment, and share anything that anybody who does something for the sport puts out there. Like, everybody who watches this should share this SANDCAST episode. Bar none. Because once big companies see, like companies who have money to spend and need to know where to put it, once they see like how awesome the beach volleyball audience is, and that they are supremely dedicated to the people who put the content out, like the McKibbins, Chris Austin is starting to put it out. Troy and Casey get it, as far as like social media.
Right.
But once those big companies see that everybody likes, follows, and shares, they'll be like, huh, we should pump some money into the sport because they have really loyal fans, and they have a really loyal like grassroots. And for everybody who's been complaining about not enough tournaments, not enough sponsors, anything like that, and you don't hit a like or a share or a subscribe button, you're complaining and doing nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hate people who complain and don't offer or attempt a solution. So if you do love the sport, and if you do love like this podcast, you should subscribe to it right now, and you should go out and share it and like it. And boom. And that's, it's going to help these guys for sure, but it's going to help the sport because, again, the more people see that, the more those companies with extra dollars who have no idea what to do with it, the more they see it, the more they're going to be like, oh, let's throw it into beach volleyball.
And then the more we can make for our fans and for
the then there are going to be more tournaments.
Right.
Right? You want to see more tournaments? You want to see a tournament in your home city? Hit a subscribe button somewhere.
Right, yeah.
Anywhere.
Totally.
And that'll be your free donation to your sport.
Yeah.
So I think not enough people understand that likes, shares, subscribes have monetary value, but they're still right now, currently, free for people.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see in like 20 years if
It's the long
likes
game.
and shares become like monetary donations.
Huh.
Like imagine if you only had like 1,000 likes.
To give out throughout the
your life. You know, you had to like
I see what you're saying.
take some. I'm waiting for somebody to come up with some sort of social media like that.
Whoa,
where it's
that's
like
interesting.
Kind of currency. And like if you like something more, you would take a like away from that thing and put it there.
Yeah.
You know.
Huh.
So it would be weird and interesting, and
Yeah.
very like futuristic Black Mirror type stuff. But
Like, you're a thinker. You always got. I've seen the board of ideas in your house.
yeah, that's right. That's right. 2 giant whiteboards filled with the next 2 years of ideas.
Love it.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Now we have switched up like the final question that we ask our guests. So the answers are getting a little repetitive. So we figured a little change of pace here.
Let's go.
In the
I
off
like
season.
surprises.
So our new question for our guests at the end of every episode is, what is your why in beach volleyball?
What is my why in beach volleyball? Oh, man. What is my why in beach volleyball? I want to play a flawless game. And I think the pursuit of that is really valid. Like to just play an entire game perfectly, where like you read everything, you made the right decision each time. It's not really a why. It's not why I keep going. It's something that I want to pursue.
Right.
Flawless match would be nice.
That's a why. Pursuing that, whether it's actually attainable or not.
I think it goes a little bit beyond beach volleyball for me. It goes towards getting a platform, and then what do you do with it? Like for example, if I went and in 2024 like qualified, started like making some Sundays in the next couple of years, and then got to the Olympics.
Yeah.
All right. Now you're on a soapbox. Now people are listening, and you have sway. You have power. No matter what people say, like you have power, and it's your choice at that point. How do you use it?
Right. Yeah.
And if you're the type of person who thinks that you can make the world a better place, or thinks that your ideas will help make the world better, that's your opportunity to then start influencing.
Right.
So I think my why is more get the platform to start making the world better, and I think I do that successfully through my coaching. I teach people how to be better partners, how to talk to each other. I relate talking to your partners the same way that you relate like talking to your girlfriend or your wife. Like, you know how you don't want to nag about the one thing every single day? Like you have to choose your battles. Like you gotta let something go. And if somebody's like down and out, or they just made a hitting error, or somebody just had a bad day, you don't kick them with something worse.
Right.
Like, you can't keep putting somebody in the ground. So you teach people relationships and how to be better people once you have certain platforms.
Yeah.
So I guess in the end, now that I think about it, that would probably be it. Getting the platform to help make even a couple people just a little bit better, make their lives a little bit easier.
Love it. And you have that ripple down, or that ripple effect that you mentioned, that if you get one piece of advice from a coach that wins you thousands of points, then you tell someone else and it wins them thousands of points. So the ripple effect for that is huge.
You live forever.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Legends never die.
That's right. That's right.
Heroes get remembered.
Yeah.
Legends never die. Well, thanks for coming on.
Hey,
it's about time we had you on.
Pleasure.
It's been a while.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Hope we can do more of these.
Yeah,
Maybe
for sure.
I don't know. Share it, split them. I'll have you guys in a webinar. I think people would love to see you guys both do a video analysis with me. Like, just go through one pro match, maybe one of your own.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
And then let's do a dual episode.
Let's collab.
We could just like pop it out at the same time, and then I think people would like it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
This is what happens when you put three volley nerds in a room.
That's right. Like, how do we look at our games, and like what do we criticize about ourselves, and like what are we actually looking at?
Yeah.
Because you could watch.
Totally.
You know, those YouTube videos that we watched for a year, and then somebody came along and go, why are you looking at that?
Right.
That's not what you want to pay attention to. Todd Rogers has a funny story. I don't know if you guys ever heard this.
I don't know.
But he's like, you could look at somebody and not actually know what's going on, because he used to practice on East Beach in Santa Barbara, and he had like a slap tear in his shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And people were always like emulating what he did, because he won for 7 years in a row. And he was like, every time he set, the only way he could get his hand above his head was by moving his shoulder like this.
He had to come in first.
Yeah, so he was still like hand setting, because like this would lock up.
Yeah.
And he said at the end of the summer, he saw like everybody in Santa Barbara hand setting like that. Because like Todd Rogers like not knowing that he's just got an injury.
That's really funny.
He actually can't get his hands up.
Yeah.
I thought that was hysterical.
That's
like,
hilarious.
Yeah, you could look at somebody and be like, and make up a reason in your head if you don't actually hear. Makes a difference. Yeah,
I like that.
That's pretty
That's
funny.
a good one.
Love it.
Well, good luck with the off-season preparations. Get back in the weight room. Have great holidays. If we don't see you before then.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Love it.
And we'll get back on the beach soon.
Holla.
Love it.
Appreciate
Holla.
it. Thanks, guys. Later. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, share.
Shoots.
What?
Listen to the man.